Hi everyone, welcome back to Go Local Live. I'm Go Local News Editor Kate Nagel. Thanks for kicking off your weekend on Friday afternoon with us here in downtown Providence. We'd like to thank Ray Rickman and Bob Wickham for coming into the studio, as well as my next guest, Cheryl Ursillo with Grace's Stuffies. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
It's the best week to come in. It's Rhode Island Quahog Week.
It is.
And Grace's Stuffies are your product that you can find at Dave's and other places. But let's back it up a little bit. I want the story. I want the Grace's Stuffies story. Because we can say stuffed quahogs, but everyone knows they're stuffies.
Well, my mom made them for years and years for family and friends, and at her passing, I found her recipe and decided I was inspired at that point by the story of Jim Cook, who owns the Boston Beer Company, legendary for Sam Adams beer, and it was his great-grandfather's recipe that led him to manufacture that, and I had that inspiration and found a co-packer and a great partner in Dave's Marketplace, a legend in Rhode Island. So that's where they're sold, and we're very proud of the results.
Now, did you know the recipe when your mom was alive, what went into these stuffies, or did you keep it close to the vest?
I had an idea. As you will when you try them, because you can taste the seafood in there. You know there's scallops and clams, and it's a little bit of a kick there at a little heat, so you know that it's pepperoni, I can tell you that. Full disclosure.
Ooh, fun.
So it is. It's a delicious recipe. It's not bready. It's certainly not watery, but it definitely is moist. Very rich. You can taste the butter, and it just sits up nicely there in the shell.
So let's talk a little bit about the business itself. You had this idea. You said, I want to do my mom's recipe. I know now my next phase of my career in life, I want to do stuffies. For that average small business person, how did that get off the ground? What did you find? Were there any surprises along the way?
So I went to a couple of oddly learning connection seminars on entrepreneurship, and also something sponsored by the Boston Beer Company at the Biltmore. So I was front and center, knowing their story. And there are different ways to go about promoting the business, and I chose to actually engage a co-packer, and I receive essentially royalties for the recipe. So there's a non-disclosure agreement included in that arrangement, and they make it on my behalf.
Okay, very good. So you're in Dave's. You can purchase them elsewhere, though, correct?
Not at the moment, but
simply Dave's.
We're on the verge of Kyler's Seafood off on 195. So for those people in the New Bedford area, Fall River area, and around the Cape, they can certainly, beginning in a couple of weeks.
So what are the plans? You mentioned one location. I mean, what's next for Grace's Stuffies?
Well, we've talked to markets in Massachusetts and in Connecticut.
You're bringing Rhode Island
and Connecticut,
regional.
Absolutely, and some restaurants. So we'd like to expand to other venues for sure.
How many times a week do you have Stuffies?
Me, when I was making them and trying to perfect her recipe, a lot, and friends were. But I would say I usually eat them once or twice a week. Yeah.
And it is Rhode Island Quahog Week this week.
It is.
So big celebration. I mean, it's kind of a source of pride. There's a lot of Stuffies around. And you think that you've got, there probably going to be some stuffy competitions you might need to enter.
I kind of think that we've elevated the image of the bivalve. Now that it has the designation of being the official shellfish of the ocean state. So we'd like to do our part to make it a source of pride from Rhode Islanders. I think it was Mark Patinkin who said in an article a while ago that the stuffy is to Rhode Island really what lobster is to Maine. It's become that recognized, and that's closely aligned with our state. So it's a source of pride, I think, for all Rhode Islanders.
Absolutely. Again, celebrating a whole week for the Rhode Island Quahog Week.
Absolutely.
Again, Stuffies, so popular. Before I let you go, again, you talked about following your passion. What advice would you give to someone who might be mid-career, retired, looking to do something else? Would you say follow your passion?
To go for it. To just go for it. And to just jump in. You'll never know. I didn't want to be in that point of life where you look back and say, coulda, woulda, shoulda. And you meet such wonderful people. It's a second career for me. I was an educator, retired administrator, and this has been great. Too much time on my hands.
Well, we'd like to feature small businesses getting off the ground. And again, Grace's Stuffies will provide links if you want to learn more about them. But again, it is Rhode Island Quahog Week, so make sure to do your part and eat some quahogs, eat some Stuffies, and more here in Rhode Island. So Cheryl Ursillo, I really appreciate
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And we're going to be back with our last guest here on GoLocal Live, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.